Joyous viewers, welcome to Animal World, our co-inhabitants. On this episode, we will introduce you to one of Africa's most spectacular birds, the lesser flamingo. Smallest in size, yet greater in number than any other flamingo species, lesser flamingos are distinguishable by their pinkish-white plumage, rosy red, slender legs, and largely black bills. With their warm flowery hues, the birds attract visitors from around the world to the regions of Eastern Africa and South Asia, where they primarily reside. The immense gathering of flamingos at Lake Natron in East Africa's Rift Valley is a major eco-tourist draw and has been described as the greatest ornithological spectacle on Earth. According to Pan-African Ornithological Congress Committee Chair Professor Adrian Craig, who teaches at Rhodes University in South Africa, there are 1.5 million to 2.5 million lesser flamingos in Eastern Africa, or 75% of the total world population of this species in this region. He also states that Lake Natron is a vital habitat for these birds. Lesser flamingos are extremely vulnerable to degradation and changes in their surroundings, and are now being protected under the Agreement on the Conservation of African Eurasian Migratory Waterbirds, or AEWA, which has been signed by 62 countries across the world. Dr. John Githaiga, a professor in the School of Biological Sciences at the University of Nairobi in Kenya, explains why the lesser flamingo is such a critical part of the ecosystem the bird inhabits.
The lesser flamingo plays a very important role. One thing, it's actually what we call a flagship species.
The lesser flamingo is a flagship species because the bird serves as an excellent barometer of the health of the ecosystem. If the lesser flamingo's populations are stable or growing in an environment, that typically means that other animals in the same environment are also doing well. The distinctive color of the flamingo comes from their diet, particularly spirulina, commonly known as blue-green algae. The algae contain carotenoid pigments, similar to those that make the leaves of trees change color in the fall. The algae grow in lakes known as soda lakes because of their high concentration of sodium carbonate. Lesser flamingos are well adapted to the harsh environment of the region's soda lakes, where volcanic ash and evaporation have produced concentrated alkaline solutions that few other animals are able to survive in.
Notify that the flamingos have moved and gone elsewhere. And there are several factors. Food supply is quite critical, but also freshwater availability, and the flamingos simply move because the environment is no longer what it was before. So their movement is erratic. You don't know where they're going to move, you don't know where they're going to go, and that's why we describe it as being nomadic rather than actual migrations.
Lesser flamingos are gregarious birds that gather and create large flocks. As adults, they form monogamous pairs and usually mate for life. The males and females are similar, although males may be slightly larger. Lesser flamingos only reproduce every 5 or 6 years. Non-breeding birds do not return to breeding sites until they are ready to reproduce again.
Flamingos are colonial breeders. They breed at one place, all of them together, and it means that they have to synchronize. If you have excessive flooding in the breeding places, then they won't attempt any breeding at all. So mostly the breeding occurs after the flamingos have had enough food in a good year. Flamingos, unlike the other birds, don't build nests in the trees. They just scoop the mud and build it up into a kind of a stool with a depression at the top where the egg is actually laid.
The nests are usually about 30 centimeters high to serve as protection from flooding. Females lay a single chalk-colored egg that is tended to by both parents, who produce a kind of milk in their crop, the upper part of the stomach, and feed it to their young. The chicks are gray with thick gray legs and straight bills, and are fed by both parents until they fledge at about 75 days of age. Chicks join the equivalent of day nurseries soon after hatching.
It's like a collection of many young ones, like a nursery school, a kindergarten, a baby care center where you take kids all of the same age, born at the same time. So this kind of thing they do. After they hatch, they all migrate to the shallow lagoons, and the young ones are all taken there. So the young ones are kind of socialized into a kind of a flock of the same age. The young ones know their parents, and the parents know who their children are.
You are watching Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. After these brief messages, we'll learn more about how the intelligent lesser flamingos communicate with one another. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. This episode features a celebration of one of Africa's natural treasures, the lesser flamingo. Lesser flamingos use various techniques of flashing the black feathers on their wings to communicate with one another. They also voice different calls to speak with one another.
And they usually communicate to each other, and they do talk. There's flock communication, and you can get different sounds when they are flying off and when they are also just feeding. But if you go to the lake during the daytime, you can get those sounds. Last time they are talking to each other. But the moment they're flying, you just get a very sharp, shrill sound. Chi-chi.
The greatest danger to the lesser flamingo is humankind because the animals are very much vulnerable to habitat change and destruction. Dr. Philip Maruthi, Senior Director of Conservation Science for the African Wildlife Foundation, shares his concerns about the declining numbers of lesser flamingo breeding sites, which are threatened by pollution and logging.
Because of the negative activities, primarily cutting of forest upstream in the Mau, the river Njoro and other rivers that drain into Lake Nakuru in the Rift Valley are drying, and very little water percolates, goes down to the lake. There's a lot of siltation in that lake, and therefore low levels of water mean that the lake carrying capacity, the capacity to hold, to support flamingos goes down. The flamingo population has been fluctuating over the years. Maybe they have gone to Lake Natron and other lakes. Maybe the population is going down. But what we know is that during some years, the population of flamingos in Lake Nakuru has gone so low, even to cause concern to Kenya Wildlife Service and other stakeholders. The point here being that we have to really maintain the headwaters. We have to maintain the catchment area in the Mau to make sure that the water goes down. Remember, this water is not just for the wildlife. Most of the people in Africa are accessing water and other resources directly. So we need the water to flow. We need to, for the purpose of the humans, access, and also the access of the flamingos and other wildlife.
Despite being the most numerous species of flamingo, the lesser flamingo is classified as near threatened on the International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, or IUCN Red List 2009, because a moderate drop in population has been observed.
A lot of flamingos dying simultaneously at the same time in Lake Nakuru, in Lake Bogoria, also in Tanzanian lakes. They have also recorded a decline in the number of flamingos of up to 40%. This decline linked to the changes in the catchment and to the destruction of the forests, the reduction in the river inflows, the siltation of the lakes, and probably also the pollution from agrochemicals, especially the fertilizers.
Conservationists note that pesticides from commercial farms are showing up in some lakes in eastern Africa, and thousands of small-scale farmers who are felling forests in the catchment basin are exacerbating the unstable water levels of the lakes. The loss of forest cover means more water runoff when rain falls, and less underground water to replenish the lakes in times of drought. Also, Dr. Gathaiga points out that the prolonged drought caused by climate change has severe effects on flamingos' habitats and food availability.
prolonged periods of drought with no rainfall, especially in Lake Nakuru. For the last 15 years, we have seen periods of very frequent dryouts when the lake is completely dry. Just small patches of water here and there, and the flamingos had to move. Global warming is projected as actually demonstrated that in the dry areas, especially where the Eastern Africa, you have more frequent dry periods. And once you have got more frequent dry periods, it means that you have got less water inflow into the lakes. And then you have the changed chemical characteristics, and this now translates into effects on the flamingo food availability.
To ensure the long-term survival of lesser flamingos, conservationists from all over Africa and other parts of the world are working to protect these beautiful animals and urging local governments to act quickly in order to conserve their natural heritage by using their resources in ways that do not put biodiversity at risk.
There's quite a lot of things going on because tourism, especially in Lake Nakuru, Lake Bogoria, and also the northern Tanzania lakes, is mostly based on the flamingo. You have a lot of efforts at conserving the flamingo habitats by the communities, by the government, and by the local authorities. The government does protect the flamingos by having the national parks. It's also doing a role by protecting the forests, but the community also are playing a very important role in managing their habitat and trying to see that the water systems are not as polluted or the rainfall, the river flows are not interfered with. The most important thing is, first of all, to restore the water flows, to restore the lake levels, make sure that the ecosystems are functional. At the same time, and I think this is going on, is where the reticulation for sewage works are being put in place. And we do believe that if all this is achieved, then we shall have had secured the environment for the flamingos.
We would like to express our appreciation to Dr. John Gathaiga of the University of Nairobi and Dr. Philip Maruthi of the African Wildlife Foundation for giving us closer insight into the world of the lesser flamingos and the steps needed to be taken to safeguard their future. May the lesser flamingos and other animals the world over be loved and cared for by humankind. Thank you, lovely viewers, for watching today's episode of Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants. Up next is enlightening entertainment following noteworthy news. May your life be filled with divine blessings from heaven.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/AW.